Hello there. I'm going to talk to you about hearing aids. I've got more than that actually. I've got various different sorts, but that is a in the ear hearing aid, and that is a in the canal hearing aid, and they're both programmable. They're also both at the bottom of the price range in private hearing aid provision, but some NHS services are providing these hearing aids, or they're providing providers in the private market to give hearing aids free of charge to, or at least one hearing aid free of charge to people via private hearing aid providers. So there's a thing called APP, or any preferred provider. So it doesn't have to be your NHS audiology department, although I did get this one 21 years ago from the NHS department at my local hospital, and the audiologist was very good. So when you realise that you've got hearing loss, first thing to do is, unfortunately in the UK, they don't do this. Like, you can go privately in countries like Spain and you can still get your ears cleaned out, which is really good. And they used to do this at the hospital in the audiology department in St Anne's Hospital in North London. But now that doesn't really exist. So anyway, the point of a programmable hearing aid is when you get a test, you're asked to say, when with a button, when you can hear or stop being able to hear a sound like ooh, ooh, like that. And it's to hear the frequencies of your hearing. So in the optician, you'll be asked to read a big letter, and then they'll get smaller and smaller to test how good your eyesight is. And in fact, hearing aids are tested in an equivalent where they find out how much hearing loss you have from a very low frequency to a very high frequency. And people who work around loud noises in factories and other things like that need hearing protectors, particularly musicians, drummers. Music is very loud these days, very high frequencies. They can get noise trauma, which is when the little hairs inside their ear keep bending with all the loud over 90 decibel noise, and then eventually they break off, giving them high frequency hearing loss. So musicians and DJs need to wear hearing protectors, and in fact they can look just like that, and they come from the same people who manufacture hearing aids. And what they do is they allow the musician to hear speech when they're on stage with much the same technology that cuts out high and low sounds so that people can hear what people are saying around them. There isn't just the programmable that is done on the computer using your audiogram that shows where your hearing loss is. It isn't just that provides a natural sound that is a hearing aid is comfortable to wear. I was born with hearing loss, but I wear one of these guys from when I wake up in the morning to when I go to bed at night. So I'm just going to pop that on. A bit of the old feedback there. That's an audiogram hearing aid that I got in 2001. It still works. And when I say audiogram, what I mean is analog, sorry. So it's the difference between a CD and a record. And a CD has a narrower width of different frequencies, and the records that were made before the 1990s have a very wide spectrum, which gives a really full sound. And some of the stereos, like the quad in the 50s, provide a very full sound, like you had an orchestra playing in your living room. So anyway, so there's a lot of technology out there that's really good. But the other thing about these hearing aids is they have an air vent. You can see that. There's an actual hole there that goes all the way through and comes out the other side. What's important about that is it lets air breathe. So some behind the ear hearing aids, they have a plastic mold that goes into your ear, but the microphone is on the piece on the back of your ear, which means you probably only hear what people are saying behind you. So our earlobes actually are very beautifully designed, and they catch what we're hearing, and they're also propping forwards to collect sound in the sphere, directional hearing. But in fact, this hearing aid has got a manual directional microphone, so I can put that forwards. And if I'm at a party, I could probably hear better than everyone else because I'll be able to pick out what people are saying in front of me when you have normally this thing called cocktail party syndrome, where everyone's just blah, 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 like the chorus line in a film, rhubarb, 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 as you can actually hear what people are saying. But also, if you're born with hearing loss, you might pick up pre-verbal communication. You never lose that. That's what a baby can make out from body language and facial expression and the words people use and the sounds and the inflections before they actually learn words and before they learn to speak. And that's what they're learning as they do manage to distinguish what their mother is saying or other people are saying before they know words and can learn to speak. So you pick up all of that. It's very hard to ignore it if someone's words and their body language and their behaviour are incongruous. Mentioning no names, but people like Bill Gates. But anyway, so so the directional microphone picks up what people are saying in front of you, and I got this, and instantly I came out onto the road and I could hear the hum of traffic on the road and the wheels on the tarmac, and the rustle of leaves up in the trees. And then I phoned my employer and I said, it's amazing. And I think that changed my life. And I went to a party where you had Brazilian people already celebrating the night before they won the World Cup. And they played music. It was the first time in my life I could actually hold a conversation at a party when there was music playing in the background. That was really revolutionary for me. It didn't take long to get used to it. I noticed on various websites, such as the RNID, they go to quite lengths to tell you that it can take you a month to get used to a hearing aid. If you put a Google search in, there will be things explaining to you about what you can expect as you get used to your hearing aid. But if you get an in the canal or an in the ear hearing aid, it has the receiver in the ear, so the sound is already past the earlobes, and so is already cutting out background noise, like the clunking of cutlery or beeping of a lorry and that kind of thing. So you can tell that the beeps are coming from the police, coming from the road crossing lights, not from a lorry down the road. So you don't have some kind of ear deaf experience. So you won't be able to tell where the sound is coming from. Also, I wear a hearing aid in my left ear personally because my right ear is smaller and I can't really get an ear hearing aid in there, or it kind of sticks out and more likely to be knocked out and to lose it, which I have done. So I wear it in my left ear because actually I've used the phone in my right ear, even though that shows my age, because most people use their phone like they're licking ice cream off a plate, like they do in The Apprentice. So I do tend to use the phone on my right ear, except I use headphones. And these headphones, actually, they're open back. And what's really important about that is I can hear what I am saying. It's really frustrating with behind the ear hearing aids that don't have any air ventilation to let air into the ear, and they don't have a receiver in the ear, so they don't pick up sound that has already been sorted by the earlobes, but they also cut you off from the world of sound environment around you, and then pipe music in to you. Uh, that so it makes it quite uncomfortable and build up a wax. But the worst thing is not being able to hear what you are saying. So that's kind of muffled. It's like headphones now, they don't make it clear on the box that they don't work for voice over internet protocol. So for WhatsApp, so like a Bluetooth earpiece, um, like a Jabra one, that I'd use one that goes over the ear so that it doesn't go in the ear. And voice over internet protocol is where it works the internet, so WhatsApp and that kind of thing, or Skype. In the old days, you had to have an actual internet phone for Skype. But a lot of these earpieces don't work for the internet; they only work for the mobile phone, and my signal keeps cutting out. So anyway, back to hearing aids. The other thing about this hearing aid, as well as the air vent, it's got a filter supposedly to stop wax getting into the mechanism. But it also, it's very comfortable. I wear it from the morning I get up in the morning to when I go to bed at night. And if you're lucky enough to be in an area, the NHS, you'd be able to go to a hearing aid provider and say, look, I'd like an in-the-ear hearing aid, or I'd like an in-the-canal hearing aid. And also to say, I'd like a programmable hearing aid. I'd like one that corrects my hearing loss. And I'd like to be able to hear what people are saying. I want to hear what people are saying at work. I want to hear jokes in the office floor. I want to hear what people say to me at the water cooler. I want to hear people saying, we're going out for coffee. Does anybody want a latte? I want to be able to hear punchlines at comedy nights. I want to hear the doorbell go. I want to hear the TV. Even though with dyspraxia as well, auditory processing, I actually use subtitles because there's just so much information going on. And people who've got hearing loss, they actually hear with their eyes. I was told at school to put my glasses on so I could see what I was dreaming about, or also to hear. So I put my glasses on so I could hear better, because I didn't have a hearing aid in my early teens. So anyway, don't want a hearing aid that is the microphone outside the ear. You want the microphone in the ear so it picks up when it's past your earlobes. And you also want an air vent, because that means the ear can breathe, and the sound that is coming from around you, it also means you can hear what you are saying. And if you want to make a comment, ask any questions. So if you want to hear what people are saying around you, and you want to hear what you are saying as well, because one of the worst things about bog standards, non-programmable hearing aids is they just amplify everything, and you hear like lots of background noise drowning out speech. They don't ever like go, what do customers want? Customers want to hear what people are saying to them and around them. It can be really important. And so it also corrects my speech, because I had quite slurred speech before I was 30. After going out to the pub, I wouldn't be allowed into the nightclub because I had slurred speech, and I couldn't prove it because I wasn't wearing a hearing aid until I was 30, because they were just uncomfortable to wear. I could only wear it for a few hours, and then my ear was full of wax, and I just felt I'd been shut off from the world with everything going on piped into me in my little box. It's the worst feeling is being boxed in, where you can't hear what you're saying to people, and your speech is slurred as well. So there are many, many reasons why it is worth investing in a private hearing aid, or finding out if your NHS trust will give you one free of charge. So what to ask for is an in-the-ear or in-the-canal hearing aid. They are a lot more powerful than they were 20 years ago. When I had the one I'm wearing 20 years ago, my hearing aid is moderate, like 60 decibel, let's say. And so I can hear without it. And I also engage a bit of lip reading, another kind of gleaning and hearing in my eyes and that kind of thing. And just probably guessing and predicting what people are going to say, because I've got to know them. So something surprising like a punchline, I might not always get. Um, yeah, so if you've got an NHS trust that lets you choose a provider, these are actually the bottom of the price range. They don't sell them, they don't try to sell them, they don't market them. You don't see them if you look on Google, you see behind ear hearing aids and you see them being worn by older people because after the age of 55, our sight and our hearing starts to deteriorate with age. So that's their target market, and they don't tell people. So it's like going into Curry's and basically them saying, "What do you want? I want a home entertainment system. I want to listen to my music." They don't ask you if you've got CDs or records or tapes or if you like the radio. They just hand you a gramophone, a wind-up gramophone. You walk out and they say it'll take about a month. Put it on a table. Make sure it's at ear height. And just to get used to the sounds, it might go a bit slow sometimes. You need to remember to wind it up. That is how archaic the hearing aid industry can be. And they can. I've got a range of hearing aids. Got behind the ear hearing aids from 1988 and from the year 2010, and I've also got a open fit hearing aid I was given by Sonic Innovations, which was really ticklish because you've got this little tiny thing in your ear that pipes in the sound, and then a little tiny thing on the back that could fit anyone. So I was just given it. Apparently, they retail for like £3,000, but this little chap, he's about £500, £600 because hearing aids are still expensive because they're just not cracked the market where they work out what do customers want, who are our target market, what do different demographics with hearing loss want, what do musicians want, or people who work in factories or loud environments. So companies that have people who work in loud environments so they don't actually get sued for causing noise trauma if they're actually responsible. Instead of just giving people earplugs, we find a lot of factory workers actually learn to lip read and do sign language and amazing stuff like that so that they protect their ears. But musicians particularly could get hearing pieces that cut out the boom of the bass and the hi hat of the drums, so that they can hear when they're people go 1, 2, 3, 4. So hearing aid providers also provide hearing protectors for musicians that work with very much same cut technology that can cut out high and low frequencies and prioritize the middle frequencies you need to hear what people are saying and to hear what you're saying to other people, to join in groups. Like before I had the hearing aid I'm wearing, found it very difficult to be in groups in a pub. I tended to interact with people socially one to one, and then in the family or any other gathering, I'd feel, like very hard to actually join in. And I didn't really hear what people were saying or how they said things or anything like that until I was about 30. So I had to do quite a lot of self development in order to not just go to speech therapy, that kind of thing, to work out how to correct my speech. But in fact, the hearing aid did much of the work. So I could actually hear what people were saying rather than second guessing them and, it being filtered through the, my mind, the filter of my mind that could have worse ideas. It could be paranoid. It could expect the worst. So I'd actually hear the truth, hear the reality. The reality is a lot better. This is a big thing I discovered. The reality of what people are saying and how nice people actually are is a lot better than the slightly damaged and traumatized filters of our brains from childhood bullying, from, grumpy parents and horrible teachers and all the other things that might have built up those voices in our heads that spur us as children. And until we learn at the age of about 16 to 18 to take responsibility for our own lives and have control over what we do and what we say. So I'm going to finish now, and almost been 20 minutes. And just to say, yeah, please do ask. They're programmable, and in the ear or in the canal, and an air vent and a directional microphone, and that can work up to decibel hearing loss of about 80 at least, maybe 90, but it needs some hearing in order to work, but it can definitely provide a benefit. And I've gone over 20 minutes. So thank you for watching. Thank you for the likes, and I'll see you soon. Here we go.